Have we seen the bottom for Bitcoin in crypto assets? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 simple indicators that I use to look at not only when are we actually going to time the bottom, but also when we're likely to then have that huge rally that we typically experience after a long-term bear market, which usually lasts right around 12 months, which we are about 13 months into. Not to mention this really simple chart that you can look at on lookintobitcoin.com. If you just go to Bitcoin charts, we're looking at a 2-year moving average. So anytime Bitcoin has come below the 2-year moving average has been a really great time to accumulate. And once you get near the red or above the red, it has been a great time to realize profit. You can see you usually have anywhere between 3 to up to about 8 months of time to accumulate, and we are deep into that zone right now. So is it a good time to accumulate? Let's go ahead and look more on a technical basis on an actual chart here on TradingView. What I will look at is what have we seen historically with the bottom. So let's ignore fundamentals because we'll get to some of that at the end of this video. But if we were just look technically, okay, what we want to see is on a 2-week chart. That's what we're looking at is Bitcoin on a 2-week chart. The RSI is below this mid-range, which is a 50, right? So we're approaching the bottom here, which is at the 30. Okay, we're below the 50 and above the 30, or at least somewhat close to 30. We've got the stochastic all the way well below the 20, almost at the very bottom here. And then we'll also have the CCI down here. Okay, and the CCI is below the 0 mark or the neutral zone. We are actually below that middle dotted line. So that occurred at the very bottom of the market here. All right, let's go ahead and look into the next bear market as well. This was the bottom in 2015. Same thing, CCI is well below here. Definitely below the mid-range, but well below. And this was really the true first bear market that we've seen that we can, because the other first bull market was from 1 cent to $50 or whatever it was. It was thousands and thousands of percents gain. This one was still thousands of percents gain, but a little bit less ridiculous. And this one we see the RSI approaching close to the 30. Stochastic again is well below this bottom range under the 20, and CCI went below the 100 mark here and then came above here. So the question is, have we seen the bottom? Well, that's what's happened in those 2 bear markets. Let's go ahead and look here too. At this bottom here, same thing. Stochastic is below the 20, RSI below the 50, and CCI is below the negative 100. And we'll look at where we're at now. So RSI is definitely below the 50. Stochastic has been below the 20 for all the way since January of 2022. So literally an entire year ago. And then the CCI was well below the negative 100 mark. So from a technical level, if we look at previous bear markets, it looks like we have actually bottomed for Bitcoin. Now the question is, all right, let's say that we did bottom, which to be honest, I'm putting right around a 75% chance that we have seen the bottom. I have, for the most part, put a fair amount of my cash to work on crypto assets. Not all of it, but the majority of it. And the reason is because I don't think I'm smart enough to perfectly time the tops and bottoms of markets. And I feel very good with everything I'm looking at on chain and technical level to say this is at the bottom or very close to the bottom. And yes, are we at a different level, in the macro environment than we were in previous bear markets? For sure. And we always will be. But let's go ahead and look at when the potential move out of the bull market, because if we look at the growth here, so if we grab from the bottom, obviously you're not going to time it from the bottom, but let's just show just into the next little price appreciation over the next about year. So this is just over a year, right? It was about a year and a half, 378% gain. And if we were to take it to the top of the market here, let's say you're a cycle like swing trader is what I kind of call it. That's like a 3-year swing trade where you're buying somewhere close to the bottom in the bear market and selling somewhat close to the top. This was an 11,000% gain. Okay, obviously not too bad there. Let's look at a more historically new timing of the bottom to the top. This was still right around 2,000% from the bottom to the top. And while that's great, yes, that was over a 3-year period. Let's go ahead and look on a shorter term time frame where we had a really big sell-off for that year of a bear market to the top. Just 200 days later was 351% gain. So you see these really, really big rallies after just complete exhaustion of the sell-off of that 12-year or 12-month bear market that we typically see for Bitcoin. All right. Now the question is, when do we actually have confirmation that we are outside of the bottom of the bear market? What I look for is, again, same 3 indicators I'm looking at. I'm looking for the RSI to cross above the 50. So it came below that pretty much entire bear market. When does it cross above the 50? Right here. Okay. When does the stochastic, we also want to see the RSI above 50. We want to see the stochastic above an 80 right here. All right. And then the CCI as well, we want to see above the 100 here. And that confirms that we're out of the bear market and into the bull market. And then you see really big appreciation typically over the next couple of years. So if you wanted to be a little bit more safe, you could maybe put some money to work now. And then you could also kind of look at, okay, once we have confirmation that we're outside of the bear market, then I put more cash to work and I'm okay buying at a higher price than where we were at the bottom of the bear market a couple months earlier. But I have more conviction and confidence that we're actually moving out of the bottom of the bear market. So that's a strategy that a lot of really intelligent traders use, that they're okay buying at a higher price because they have more confirmation that they have exceeded this really key level on a technical basis. And just looking at price action, they can say, hey, the probability that price is going up now relative to what it was, even when prices were lower couple months ago, I feel much better now because the probability is at a much higher rate. So that's something you got to consider, and a lot of early stage investors and traders do not consider. Same thing here, RSI above 50, stochastic above the 80, CCI well above the 100, and shebang-a-lang-lang, we went up another like 200% from that mark. And now where are we at? Are we close to that? Well, stochastic is not above the 50, right? We're just above, almost to approaching the 40 mark. All right. So stochastic still has some room to go, right? We still got to gain some strength with Bitcoin. All right. And also, that's the regular RSI. The RSI is not even close to the 50. It's starting to trend upwards. That's the important part, is we have higher lows. So at least we're showing the trend of the RSI is changing, which is also something that only happens at the bottom of bear markets as well, typically with Bitcoin on these longer term charts that we're looking at. Stochastic, same thing. We have higher lows as well. You can see that this is trending upwards, but we're not even halfway there to approaching that 80 range that we want to see. And CCI just creeped back into the negative over negative 100, between 0 and negative 100. And that is obviously not close to the top here either. So we have some room to go. I think we've got a few more months until we see confirmation of that, assuming that prices do trend upwards and we have some bullish momentum. And I think that things are starting to look like there's a lot higher likelihood that we have already seen the bottom relative to where we were at, like two months ago or so. All right. Another thing, some positive news. Everyone's doom and gloom on the macro environment. And I follow a lot of really intelligent guys that have been investing for 60 years, running funds for 40 years, and very, very successful doing so. And a lot of them have said, number one, it's been the most confusing time to ever invest from a macro standpoint. And number two, that they've never seen so many people all pointing to the downside. And they follow up that statement by saying, a lot of the times when everyone is pointing one direction, it oftentimes goes another direction. So it also, while it's fun to all point one direction, that the world is going to collapse, you typically see at least a very strong short squeeze when there's an incredible amount of fear in the market. It just goes back to what Warren Buffett always states is be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. It's safe to say people are quite fearful. So some positive things besides being a contrarian investor. Number one is the dollar is rolling over, right? So the dollar is coming way down, which makes it way easier for other assets to actually appreciate because everything, for the most part, is denominated in the US dollar. When we're looking at this chart, this is Bitcoin US dollar, right? And when the dollar falls, it makes it easier for Bitcoin to rise. So it's good to see this continually falling here. We also see massive institutional adoption in this industry. BlackRock making a further move into Bitcoin by making it another portion of their $15 trillion global allocation fund, which is obviously nothing to blink an eye at, but they are taking this very seriously with their partnership with Coinbase and now this as well. And the list goes on the fundamental adoption, which is really, really important to watch. And then I will say also inflation is topping, right? And that's really, really important to see. Now, what I will say is we don't, and unemployment numbers aren't awful, but I think it is likely that we do head into a deeper recession in 2023. But again, what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of the times financial markets price in the data that everyone is projecting to happen. So while the economic data could be showing we've got a deeper recession that we're about to go into, financial markets have already priced that in. And a lot of times financial markets price 9 to 12 months ahead of time. So could we have a bottom at the end of this year where we head into a deeper recession and unemployment goes higher? Yes, but a lot of that has already been priced in the end of last year. Now, I'm not saying I am 100% bullish. What I'm saying is I don't think we're going to new all-time highs in the next 6 months. All I'm saying is I think we're long overdue for a significant move, not only in crypto assets, but potentially the stock market as well. And I would not be surprised if we see a really big supplies rally and then we see a deeper recession in the economy and potentially another sell-off in financial markets and in crypto assets, very similar to what we saw back here, right? The 300% gain, and then we saw it come all the way back to 3K. Would not be surprised if we saw that. And if we have a 300% gain in Bitcoin, even 150%, right? So let's just say we have 100% gain, takes us back up to 32. All right. What do you think that's going to do for some of these other altcoins that actually have fundamentals behind them? They've got utility, they've got big firms and funds and a lot of community behind their projects. They're going to do a lot more than just 150%. All right. So for me, I'll probably be using that for a time to increase my cash position and also realize quite a lot of profit from buying, where I have over the past couple of months. Okay. So I think things are looking decent for a nice rally, and we're starting to show the signs that we are coming out of that bear market that we typically see where, we usually have 12 months after the top to, fall for Bitcoin and crypto assets to have a 70-80% correction, which we have had this year. That's not to say we couldn't go lower, but to be honest, I think we are closer to the bottom than we are to the top. Curious to hear your thoughts on if you agree with me. And I would like to shed some light on something really, really cool that we have developed a program around, which is algorithmic trading, which is one of our bots. I'll just share one of them here. I named it the Fed because it prints money figuratively. It is a beast. It ripped 1,000 trades last month and is up $54,000, which is 54% over the past few months. I've just been tracking this on a live account since October 31st. Today, it already did $530 profit this year. And which is, we're only on January 9th. It has done $7,900 in profit. So if you want some information about potentially joining our community where you can license this software and adjust your own position sizing and risk settings to make trading a little bit more simple and easier and a little bit more hands-free, there's a link in the description below. Again, let me know what your thoughts are on Bitcoin and crypto. Do you think that we're closer to the bottom than we are to the top? Are you accumulating right now? Let me know why or why not below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you here on this next video.